So what about people that don't want to bodybuild? They just want to get into better shape. What might be some things they could do, or what would you recommend?
Make sensible decisions. Now that's a really broad statement, I know. Sensible decisions, eat clean, do some cardio, do some weight training. But unfortunately, the way that the world is right now, and I don't mean to be, cynical on this, but cancer is more prevalent. We know diabetes is more prevalent. We know, obesity is on the rise. Mm-hmm. But yet we keep on following the same guidelines. And then guidelines come from the government and from the doctors and from, the social acceptance.
Sorry, how do people know what's sensible then?
Find those who know. Seek those who know. Okay, so try not to become so much of a sheep where you follow the doctors and you follow the closed-minded individuals, the people who are funded by the government, because ultimately they are at the mercy of their dictatorship. People who are outside of that realm, individuals who are, scientific or doctors who have turned into coaches, try to find those individuals. Mm-hmm. Those individuals like myself, where I don't necessarily disregard the science, but I don't let it dictate my every movement. Those individuals, they're the ones who are going to help you make the best decisions.
Yeah, definitely. And I even say that for myself. I always ask, is there something that science says is good that I also find effective for me and that's not too difficult to implement on a regular basis?
Yeah. I think it's a big oversight is anecdotal evidence. Mm-hmm. So we disapprove anecdotal evidence because there's no literature behind it. But when you see, like myself, when I've trained hundreds of people, when you see the same thing replicating over and over and over again in several different populace, so you may have an overweight, you may have skinny, you may have, a person with an eating disorder, diabetes, chronic heart disease, the same populace, and then we have a look at different ethnic backgrounds as well. And you see the same thing reoccur, and there has to be something to anecdotal evidence. So what I generally do is I do keep my eye open on the science, because I can't disregard the fact that these guys are, highly intelligent. And by all means, if I get sick, I'm going to go to a hospital. I'm not going to try to rub herbs into my skin. But so I've got to understand that. But flip side, you do have to try to come up with a lot of this yourself as well. And a lot of it is trial and error and finding what's right for you.
Great. What about guys out there that want to get six-pack abs in? Is there any way to do that?
It's going to be like the number one question, I guess. It's a six-pack is a byproduct of lowering body fat. It's as simple as that. So for a man, it's around about 8 to 12%, and for a female, it's anywhere around about the 12 to maybe 15%. Now, at the same time of having a six-pack, the benefit of having that and being within that range is actually being healthy. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of getting a double whammy. So we can reduce food, you can reduce your carb intake, you can increase your exercise. All of these are going to benefit. One thing which is for certain, which is not going to directly correlate, is doing crunches. Okay, you can do all the crunches in the world, but if you've got that layer of fat over the abdomen, you ain't going to lose it. You're not going to see them. Right. So I concentrate more on lowering that body fat down, getting healthy. And the beautiful thing of that is once you're in that healthy range, the human body actually doesn't want to be fat. We're only, a couple of ancestors away from being a monkey, and monkeys ain't fat, okay? And we were designed to be more leaner creatures. So all we've got to do is go back to our basics, go back to our primal instincts, so to speak, and everything comes in check. Your health contraindications come down, but also you get a nice little pat on the back of getting a six-pack.
What would you say are some of the biggest myths for training or working out for women?
Oh, it's got to be the lifting weights turn me into a man, right? I mean, I hear this all the time. So I don't know where that started from, but I think it's because, the concept of you lift weights, you get muscular, you release testosterone, and all of a sudden you grow a penis. It really doesn't work like that. But I think that's got to be one of the main ones. I actually wrote down some myths here because some of them are hilarious. I had to look at them online. Protein is for men only, because, apparently men only have muscles and we don't need, the protein for the skin and the eyes and the nails and the hair. Mm-hmm. And you have to do cardio to burn the fat, which, I mean, you only need to look at Arnold Schwarzenegger there. I don't think I've ever seen that guy on a treadmill. So you just lift weights, eat healthy, and you'll get the same benefit. But they're probably the more ridiculous myths I've heard in the past.
Okay, and what about myths for guys? Any about working out for them?
It's been going on for quite a long time, is that weight training stunts growth. I don't personally think that's correct. I think if you go too severe, you can essentially pull the growth plates away from the bone, and that can, miniaturize the individual. You're essentially stunting the growth or the growth of the actual bones themselves, the elongation of the bones. But providing that you started out like me, push-ups, press-ups, body weighted stuff, and then you start doing maybe high rep stuff instead of, the impact, heavy, hard lifting, I don't see that being a problem at all. I mean, if we have a look at gymnasts, these guys start at 8-year-old. They start very, very young. Professional swimmers start very, very young. But I think for the typical gym goer, the typical average man and woman, I think just being smart, just making sure that you don't pull them growth plates away. And you just do that by simply lifting not too heavy. So that's going to be one of the main ones. We've already mentioned about, the spot reduction of fat. So all the crunches in the world ain't going to happen, unfortunately. And another big one is food. So food and supplements. I'm finding a common trend at the moment where a lot of guys are supplementing the food completely for supplements. So they're no longer eating food, they're just having protein shakes, and pre-workouts, and BCAAs, L-glutamine, creatine. There's actual no food in their diet. And as you know, from me, I'm a big advocate of food. I time the supplements around the nutrition, around the training itself. But other than that, most of the nutrition comes from actual food itself. We were designed that way. Our digestive system was designed that way. Our digestive tract was designed that way. And there's no reason why we should be supplements as a substitute if your diet's in check. Try to be as basic as you possibly can, but try to be conscious of the food that you're eating as best you can. I would say that's one of the biggest myths for me.
Tell us a little bit about your approach with training the clients that you see.
It's like a hybrid approach. So we've already touched on it to some extent. So it's the holistic side with the science. I try to put the two together. I've been in the game now, 16 years, 17 years of training. You learn over a period of time, again, anecdotally, what is right and what's wrong. But no one is going to have access to the amount of information and the amount of clients that I have, and I use the no shoe fits all approach. Okay, so no one shoe fits everyone. So I'll try to essentially design and customize your diet and your training for you specifically. So, for example, you came to me, Damon, and you said, "Look, I want to build my strength for basketball." So it's pointless me putting you in a Pilates class and telling you, put a sweatband on, and you sing Kumbaya while you're doing yoga moves. It's not going to work because you're going to get knocked off that ball. What we did was hard, heavy lifting. And you notice yourself when you're running the pitch, you weren't no longer running around people, you were running through people. So it was quite a big improvement. So it's finding what the client wants and a pathway of how we're going to achieve that using all the information that I've been able to absorb over the years.
Yeah, that's great. And I do agree with you that there's that huge difference between knowing something or, having read something and then actually being able to implement it. It's good to go to someone, I think, who says, yeah, this is what you do, this is what's worked for me, but let's find what's worked for you.
Yeah. And be realistic as well. I mean, humans are weak by nature to some extent. We do like our food. Some people like the cigarettes and the booze, and we have to understand that. And in order to gain success is to understand that and try to make that work for your advantage. So it'd be pointless for me to go in there like a wrecking ball and take someone's food away and take the cigarettes away and take the alcohol away. There is a way of working around it and slowly weaning them individuals off that, or even questioning why they developed the habit in the first place. So this is where the psychology comes in. So we sort of try to find connections as to, are they connecting this to, depression, anxiety? Are they connecting this to acceptance in society? Are they eating a certain food because they're genuinely needing the food? Are they down on nutrients, or is it just a habit that they've developed? So again, this is something where over the years, my experiences, we can kind of work with the person to try to cure or at least remedy some of these more relaxed approaches that they've had in their lives. And then eventually, ultimately, the ultimate goal is to make that into a habit. So that becomes easy enough as well.
If people did want to work with you, what are the different type of services that you offer?
So I offer one-on-one personal training. So my location's out over at South Bank in Melbourne. I offer online coaching. I'll work with online coaching with the average Joe or with the best of the best, either way. Okay. I also do customized eating plans, training aspects. We go down the training program, so I customize plans for them as well. My background being a sports injury therapist, I can also make them training programs a bit more specific so that if you've got an injury, we can work around the injury. I'm not egotistical at all, so I do not mind, working alongside another physiotherapist or another coach or another personal trainer that you have at that time as well. If you've got an injury and you need to get back into, fighting fit to being 100% again. So I'm more than happy to work alongside of them and create a plan in collaboration as well. I work with lots of people like that as well, a lot of physios. Supplement advice, the myths and legends of supplements, I'll try to help people out with the best as I can as well. That includes, performance enhancements for the bodybuilders as well. But it also just includes vitamins and minerals and proteins and all the rest of it. Anything related to fitness, health, exercise, supplements, injuries, I'm happy to help. And if I don't know, then I'll admit I don't know, and I'll pass you on to someone else who does know.
Yeah, perfect. I think one of the biggest lessons that I learned from you is that, firstly, you don't have to lift that heavy to gain weight or to put on size. Another was really just how much I could increase my weight if I wanted to over time. So, lifting the same weight for, I don't know, probably 3 years. And then I'm like, I'm not sure if I can go up 5 kilos. And then you're like, no, shit, let's go up 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was big. And I think the last one was that if I'm working out in the right way, that I just don't have to go 3 or 4 times a week. Maybe 2 times a week can be enough.
Yeah. There's a big difference between, just the general health and well-being and then competing. And I think everyone's got this misconception that, again, unfortunately for me, the position that I'm in with being a competitive athlete is people think that, oh God, I'm going to have to train 5 hours a day. I'm going to have to eat 6 times a day. You don't. You have to make it work for you. Anything is better than nothing. And if you end up failing and you end up dropping off and not going to the gym at all, now you've created a way worse situation. So to me, it's a collaboration of efforts. It has to be the client working with the trainer, not just the trainer telling what the client to do.
Exactly. I think that's a great takeaway message. Where can people go if they want to find out more?
So my website is www.metamorphasize.com. Accessible on there. There's a few bits of information and client testimonials and things like that. Social media, Facebook is Michael G. Moses. So again, you can inbox me on there. You can see some photographs of my clients. Instagram's my main pusher. It's Michael_G_Moses. That's my personal account if you want to follow me during my competition or bodybuilding prep. And then finally, email is michael.moses.bodybuilding@hotmail.com. Okay, so, and I'm on there all the time. I've got online clients from around the world, so I'm pretty much accessible. And you know this as well. I'm pretty much accessible within 6 to 12 hours. I'll always get back to my clients.
Perfect. All right. Thanks for taking the time to have a chat with us today.
Right. Thank you for your time, and best of luck on your travels.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.